There's definitely way more good women than there is good men.
Thank you.
I agree.
So you got these queens out here dealing with these pawns.
On God.
That's real.
They can never be a king.
On God.
So that's what fucking everything up, making these women turn into kings, basically. So I can see why a woman is a
Misandrist.
I can see that, but I can't see why a nigga would turn to a misogynist.
I kind of
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I can see why women hate men.
You brought that around.
That's broke down. That's broke down.
Brought that down.
Mr. Tyrone. I just gotta get freaky for you because you love the hoes.
I don't care if they don't like me. I came here to stunt. I don't care if they don't.
They can see why a woman can be a misandrist, but they cannot envision or even imagine or even conceive the idea of why a man would have a disdain towards women. I'm not for either or. For people who've been following me on my platform, I'm very clear cut, I'm very direct, I'm very straightforward when it concerns these type of issues. And I talk about this a lot of times when dealing with both the red pill overdose men and the women out here with daddy issues. You can't be out here pushing 40, having a podcast and pushing this message to the people as this is something that they need to hear. You should have seen the comment section of these hurt and traumatized black women prompting this on. And at the very end of the video, you see these black women clapping this on. The black woman beside him clap. How? Why? What word from God did he speak? Even with black people that I have grown up with, we are taught to love one another. Right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Most of us black people were raised up in a religious household. And even in that aspect, you are taught to have some form of self-respect for other people, much more for the people within your own race. And yet you're giving this message to the people about hating your own people. And that you can see why some of these women will reject their divine femininity, their divine role as the divine feminine, and become something that they're not. That's the message you're putting out there on social media. TikTok, I really need you to hear me out, okay? I need you to create a system where people on social media have to go through this psychological test on whether or not they are psychologically sane and mature enough to be on social media. Listen, the good might go with the bad in some scenarios, but listen, it has to be done because there's no way we can allow platforms like this to continue. There's no way we can allow narratives like this to continue. You're not going to sit here and tell me that this is something that needs to be said. Can we talk about these type of issues? Of course. But to end off a message telling black people that you can see why, because a woman have had this pattern of dealing with scrubs, dealing with the Pookies and Ray Rays. Are we really going to go out of our way to push this narrative? These are grown ass folk, mind you, pushing 40 and having this mindset that they can see why a woman hates men. And where's the logic behind, because there's more women than men, that somehow there are more good women than good men? So who's raising the bad men? If there are more women than there are men, and if we're going by the stats that there are 70% of single parent households ran by women, and there's so many bad men out here, who's raising these niggas? Let me know, because this ain't adding up. Because if there are more women than men, you can't make some form of conclusion that there are more good women than men. You're going to have this narrative that there are more bad men than there are bad women. If there are more women, then there should be more bad women than there are bad men. It's beyond me. But I don't even go by these scenarios, right? Because we know how the masses are, for those who know. So you have this man here who's pushing 40, telling the masses that he can see why a woman would give up her divine femininity to be a king, to be masculine, because she has had a continuous cycle and pattern of messing with scrubs, of messing with men who are not here, who don't know how to lead, entertaining them willingly. And instead of you doing the necessary shadow work, instead of you working on yourself, instead of you going out of your way to make a 180 and find the right men, no, you're going to try and be a man. How does that work, miss? Please tell me. Let me know. How does that work? And then more so, he continues saying that he can see why a woman will go out of her way to hate men. We're not even talking about how much hate causes you to close yourself out, to be snobby, to be rude, to be bitter, and how that affects your character and how that affects how you act on an everyday basis with other people. We're not even going to get into those type of situations. But God forbid a man has the same type of issue. You could understand how a woman can somehow have a disdain towards men, but you can't see the same thing other way around. What? Hurt people do not need podcasts. Hurt people do not need podcasts. A podcast shouldn't be seen as therapy. Conversations like this should be therapeutic, but there's no solution here. It seems like they're making more of a statement than having a conversation. What's the solution? You have these women out here who don't know how to be women, and more so don't know what type of man to entertain or choose. Where are we getting at? You want to try and put this all back on the men. This has nothing to do with us men. This has to do with the dusties that your ass keep picking. Don't put this on us. This has to do with accountability. Do you hear me? Accountability. Y'all don't like that. Why? Why can't some of these women conceive the concept of taking responsibility of the men that they keep entertaining? No, you want to go and try and be a man. No, you want to have a disdain towards men. No, you want to close your legs, but you want to give them wide open. Even at the age of 23, I would never use my platform to spread such a message to black men on having a disdain towards women. There are a lot of men out here who can make the same argument for why they do not like women. I've made a lot of videos concerning these type of men, concerning these type of platforms, and I've called out the same type of rhetoric, no more than some of these men out here having this Derek Jackson treatment towards women. It doesn't make any sense to me. This whole, backlash or this whole argument on who's been hurt the most is ridiculous. Y'all sound like little kids in middle school. And a lot of y'all have not healed from what you have experienced from middle school and high school. You're still that 12-year-old kid. You're still that 14, 15, 16-year-old kid that was hurt. And from there on, you have not matured. So you have blamed everybody else for your past mistakes. You've blamed everybody else for your past decisions on relationships instead of coming to a conclusion on who you are in healing. You need help. You don't need to find a good man. You don't need to find a good woman. You need to find a therapist. ASAP. You need help. Some of these women and men get on platforms and stuff like that talking about their issues with relationships. You're the problem. A lot of times you're the problem. You project your issues on other people. You project your problems to the world and think you're all fine and dandy. But I don't want to go any further on into this conversation. Let me know how you feel about this conversation personally and respectfully in the comment section below. Make sure you like the video because it helps out with the algorithm and gets this video out to even more people. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with other people. All right. Until next time, I'm Tyrone and I am out.